where we have 3 of the stars for the U.S. women's soccer team. Abby Wambach, Alex Morgan, and Hope Solo are our co-captains. They're leading 13 runners, each running 2 miles apiece around this course today. We're donating $5,000 to the charity of the choice of each of those runners. So it just brings extra focus on what we can do to give back as a result of this race.
How does that connection feel for Bank of America and so many people from every state in the union, from more than 100 countries, to come and be a part of this event?
You know, the world comes to Chicago today. We have about 7,500 runners from outside the United States who are part of this. Another about 10,000 is the first visit to Chicago. So they not only come to be part of this race, but they literally penetrate into the heart and soul of the city, into its neighborhoods. So it's a great source of pride for us to be able to be a part of this.
And those charities, well, they must say some wonderful things to you after this race.
This has become a critical fundraising strategy for a lot of charities here in Chicago and elsewhere. So they realize the power of this, and we want to keep growing it. There's no reason to stop here. Let's keep going.
I'll see you at the finish line.
You got it.
All right, Tim Maloney from Bank of America, thanks so much. Paula and Mike, we'll send it back to you.
Okay, thanks, Rob. You know, one of the interesting things about running for charity, you know, when you're out there by yourself, it's not easy. But if you have a charity that you believe in,
right,
it's like the wind beneath your wings.
It is, and someone that you can visualize. It kind of helps pull you through those 26.2. Okay, we have the results for the mile 1 and 2, Ed, for the men. What's their split?
Second mile was 4:51, so that's 9:43. So they've settled into about a 2:07 marathon pace, which is a little bit off of the 2:05:20 that they said that initially we're going to go for, but we will see. You know, that you can make those changes, very subtle changes. Already we see they've picked up the pace about 4 seconds per mile, and it looks as if they're trying to hone in. But again, probably a good move on their part, as they may be taking in the overall heat and how things are feeling, and maybe running a more realistic pace than 2:05. But we've got all the players together right there in that pack.
And on the women's side, the women's first 2 miles, that split 10, seems like they slowed down in that second mile a little bit.
They did slow down, which was important for them, because they went out really hot at about 2:17 pace, and then they have backed it down, running a 5:21 mile for the second mile, and 2:20 is about a 5:20 per mile pace, and that's the pace they want to be on. So I think the women are doing a little bit better job honing in on the pace that they initially wanted to run than the men are right now.
We said that this could be a historic day because we could see a course record. 2:05:41 is the men. You mentioned, is there any chance that you said, how are they going to be able to make up that time, Ed? Well, especially on a hot day.
Well, you negative split the race is how you make it up, or you just pick up the pace. But the problem with marathoning sometimes is those first 2 miles kind of dictate a lot of the rhythm and the pace that you get into. That's why it's so important to start off, because once you are established a pace, once you deviate from that pace, suddenly it feels fast. And so when you start off at a pace that's pretty comfortable pace, then all of a sudden you're trying to pick it up, it feels like, oh, this is faster than I want to go.
Well, this is going to be a historic race regardless of the heat and the weather, because if Lilia Shovakova wins, she will become not just the first female, but the first athlete ever to have won this race 3 straight years.
Yeah, and this is the only member of the world marathon major that has not seen a three-peater.
Well, it's really tough, isn't it? I mean, here at Chicago, we've had, I believe, 7 women win 2 in a row, and 5 men win 2 in a row. But that third one is tough, and part of the reason is it's part of the big trial in the marathon is getting to the starting line healthy. And so if you're able to do that, if you're an elite runner running at the highest level and you are able to get to the starting line healthy 3 years in a row, that's a big battle, not to mention all the people that you have to do battle with once you get there healthy.
All right, some graphics for your eyes. Just take all these numbers in. There's the world record splits for the 5K, 10K, 50K, and 20K, sponsored by Xfinity. Hopefully we'll see a world record kind of day here in Chicago.
Well, I can tell you from the first couple miles, probably not going to happen. It would, you know, for a world record to happen, you have to have an ideal course. We have an ideal course here in Chicago. You have to have ideal pacing, but you also have to have that ideal weather. And I do not think that we have the ideal weather for the world record. But we'll see how their pace corresponds to the world record as they roll along today.
Ed, men's 5K pace 14:53.
That's ridiculous.
14:53. Okay, so they have continue to pick it up a little bit. 14:53 puts them somewhere on about 2:05 high, maybe 2:06 low pace. So again, I think that third mile that someone got in there.
Ginger, I'm serious. She is your long-lost sister. I mean, they're basically twins. And Hope Solo taking some time off from Dancing with the Stars to fly in, so a frenetic schedule, and it was really important for her to get back. Okay, you guys.
Let's turn our attention to the men now.
Yes.
And in the men's pack, we still see the Rabbits up front, but Ryan Hall, the great American, is at the back of that pack. He's running very comfortably. I see Moses Mossop in that pack as well. And also Marlon dos Santos is back in the yellow, the great Brazilian. All the major contenders, this is only 4 miles into this, are looking very good, looking very comfortable.
4:38 for the last mile, projected 2:04:48. 5:48 for that last mile, I should say. Or 4:58, excuse me.
Probably 4:58 range. And so the men are running right around 2:06 pace. They have picked up the pace. They're continuing to go. It looks like they've got a good rhythm, and no surprises there right now. Tony, do you see anything notable that we should notice in the men's field? Not sure if Tony can hear us right now, but again, looking at that lead pack, Moses is over on the far left, running behind the runner in the orange. He's the one who has the sore Achilles tendon, but and in talking to him, he says sometimes it takes him about 15K to get warmed up on some of his longer 40K training runs, and maybe those first easy couple miles were beneficial to him.
Also in that middle of that pack with the red Nike shirt there, that's Evans Chariot, the 2008 Bank of America champion. You know, he wants to find the magic again. He's been hurt the last couple of seasons, bothered by hamstring problems, but he's got a chance if he can hang with that pack early on.
Before we go to Joan Benoit Samuelson, the women just finished a 16:19 5K, and taking a look at the Xfinity world record splits to see where they are on pace. Again, the women just finished a 6:19 5K, and just in comparison, we're going to take a look at those world record splits in just a moment. But a look at the women right now. So 32:01 for a 10K.
Yeah, you know, at 16:19, that puts them on about 2:17:40 pace, and that's a very good clip. That actually puts them about 20 seconds within Paula Radcliffe's course record time of 2:17:20. Now, Shibakova had mentioned that she was hoping to break 2:20. I think this is a little aggressive for her right now, and so I think it's maybe a little fast. She's got Dibaba running right there on her shoulder. Joni, can you hear us? What's going on out there in the women's pack?
It's a very interesting race. We're down to 3 women. Lilia and Ejigayu are really in lockstep. They're running side by side. Lilia shared her water bottle with Ejigayu about 5K, but now Kyoto Fukushi has caught up with them, and she's just off their lockstep pace. And she's looking very good.
But Joni, they're on 2:17 pace right now. Do you think that's a little aggressive, particularly for Fukushi and Dibaba?
Well, they're the great unknowns. We really don't know what they're capable of, but that would be an incredible debut time for either one of the runners. Again, I think it's a little too fast for Lilia. She just wants to break 2:20 and win this race 3 times. So anything could happen, especially when we look at the heat that's going to really start to build very shortly here.
And we should mention that Ejigayu Dibaba, this is her marathon debut. She won a silver medal in Athens in 2004 in the 10,000 meters. And this running ability it's kind of in her blood. Her sister Tirunesh, she won a double gold in Beijing in the 5 and 10,000 meters. So she's somebody to watch for sure.
Well, it's
So this is her debut.
because Ejigayu looks like she doesn't really know what she's doing out here, but she looks totally comfortable. She smiled a few times, whereas Lilia is totally focused. And I think Lilia's wondering, what the heck is this woman doing with me during her first marathon? The other thing is, Ejigayu is the only Olympic medalist in the field, I believe.
Thanks, Joan. We look forward to your updates periodically throughout today's race. Okay, so $100,000 is on the line for first place winners of the Bank of America Chicago Marathon. We're right back in a few minutes. let's run together.
Ginger Z here with Abby Wambach and Hope Solo. Let's Run Together is the program, and they are running in the race, but not the whole time. Hope, tell me what you guys are doing.
Well, we're actually captaining a relay team of 13 individuals who are all running to make good in their communities, their local communities. So everybody's running for a charity of their choice. 13 individuals are running with us as our new teammates, and eventually we're going to cross the finish line together to complete the marathon.
And if anyone knows how to do the team thing, it's people like you. I mean, I'm thinking of the last game. I'm thinking of all the things we've watched you do. How does doing something like this, a marathon, change you? I mean, what's the energy like in this compared to what you've done before, Abby?
Well, it makes me want to go out and run. I mean, honestly, the energy that these people all have. Hope got to lead 45,000 people off of the start line, and I think that what we're doing, not only to raise money for charities, but to do it as a team, to be in Chicago, to support the Bank of America Chicago Marathon, all of it just is so perfect. It lines right up with what we're about, not only as a team, but as people.
Great, and you all run 6 to 8 miles on the field every game, so
Yeah.
you just times that by 4, you'd be about
No problem.
4.5.
No problem. We got this thing. No
Yeah,
problem.
yeah. And then we have to hit on Dancing with the Stars because people are so interested in it. I do want to know again, what is the most difficult, you think? If you had to run a marathon right now, do a merengue, or maybe keep for a huge game?
I don't even know what a merengue is, so I'm assuming that would be more difficult.
Is that a cake?
Cha-cha, what do you do that?
Meringue. Honestly, dancing is one of my biggest insecurities. I'm pretty stiff when it comes to dancing, so to do it in front of 23 million viewers every Monday is extremely hard, and I'm overcoming my challenges. Running a marathon, you do it at your pace, you have fun, you have teammates behind you, so it's more for fun.
All right, thank you both so much for being here, and we'll head
Thanks
back
for
to you.
having us.
Thank you.
And it's 7:57 on this beautiful Sunday morning in downtown Chicago. Just want to remind you, if you're out of town or across the world, you can watch live on our website, NBCChicago.com. We are live streaming beginning at 7 all the way through 1 o'clock. I just got a text from my buddy who ran last year in Detroit. He said that he's able to stream the race live. He says this is rare for a marathon and totally awesome. So it's up, it's running. Make sure you check it out if you want to capture today's race action on NBCChicago.com. Okay, Tony with an update on the men.
Hi, Paula. Well done. You know, we're in Lincoln Park. We just went by the entrance to the zoo, and you can tell that it's a warm day, even though it's a little bit cooler, of course, now under the tree cover at Lincoln Park. But anytime there's ever just the water stations, not the elite fluid stations, but water stations, the guys are going over, breaking through the pack, and dumping water on their heads. We could tell already that Ryan Hall took a very nice short haircut yesterday to prepare himself for the hot weather conditions today. The paces settle in the last couple of miles, 4:43 and 4:47. And once again, Ed, it's very much like the Boston Marathon. We have 12 men in the lead pack and 1 American. So it's a tall order. 6 miles, 28:38. So that was a 4:48 mile in the 6th mile. It's Ryan Hall against 11 East Africans, and it's a tall order to ask him to beat every one of them. He looks good. He's in his rhythm. The pace setters doing their job. But Moses Mosop, our pre-race favorite, is the one that's tucked most closely in behind Muge and Mayo and Telehud Regasa, number P44, our third pacer from Ethiopia. It's Kipyego, Wesley Career, Daba, Dos Santos. They're in back on a line, but Mosop is obviously the alpha male in this crowd, and everyone else is keying on him. Here's an elite water station again as they come up on the 10K mark. And look at him scramble.
And it looks like Moses got through cleanly. We saw him kind of directing his Kenyan friends to move out of the way, and he moved up, grabbed his water bottle very cleanly, securely. 10K, it looks like they just passed in 29:40. And it looks to me, 29:40, they're running really close to about 2:05 pace right now, which is right at or slightly under course record pace.
Yeah, I like Tony's analogy, calling Moses the alpha male here. Here's a guy who has the world record at 3,000 meters, 30,000 meters. in the Prefontaine Classic. And if he's got a sore Achilles tendon, it's sure not looking that way right now.
So the men have obviously eaten up a little bit of time. Okay, we've mentioned that today's race is going to take the athletes through 29 neighborhoods, each one giving the runners